Hello, my name is Elkrif, and in this video I'm going to answer the question, how to be happy in life. So, before I get to how to be happy, I'm going to explain why the most common ways to make yourself happy won't work and will often create a lot of suffering. So this video is going to save you a lot of time and energy in your life pursuing happiness from things that can't make you happy. So commonly, we think of happiness as if I get everything to be good enough out there, then I will be happy. But that neglects the most fundamental question, which is, what makes me unhappy? So, if you think a relationship will make you happy, you're saying the cause of my unhappiness is being single. If you think success will make you happy, you're saying the cause of my unhappiness is not having success. If you think a bigger house will make you happy, you're saying the cause of my unhappiness is not having a big enough house. But let's take a moment and really ask the question, what makes you unhappy? And you may think it's very complicated, there's all different things that make you unhappy. It's very simple. Very, very simple. And the answer is thoughts. Thoughts create your worries about others' opinions. When you're not thinking, are you worrying about others' opinions? No. Thoughts create anxiety about the future. When you're distracted from your thoughts, is there any anxiety about the future? No. Thoughts create guilt about the past. When you're not thinking about the past, is there any guilt? No. Thoughts create anger towards others. Thoughts create resentment towards others. Thoughts create arguments. Thoughts create sadness about the past, disappointment. Thoughts create your insecurities, your feeling of shame. Thoughts create every piece of suffering you have in life. There is no bit of suffering not created by thoughts. The proof is simply, when you're distracted from thoughts, you're already happy. Even if you may think your job is creating your unhappiness in life, but when you're distracted from your thoughts at work, someone sends you a funny email or makes a joke, you're fine. You're still in the same job, the facts are still the same, but when you're distracted from your thoughts, you're already happy. Right? So what that proves to you is it's only thoughts that create your unhappiness. So therefore, when you're pursuing a change out there to make you happy, right? Success, power, appreciation, purpose, meaning, love, kids, any of those things, what you're essentially saying is, getting that will eliminate all the thoughts in my head. Or at least a large chunk of them. But can that really work? Take a moment and look. Will success eliminate my anxiety about the future? Will I no longer worry about what my boss thinks? Will I no longer worry about losing my job? Will I no longer have problems in my relationship? Will I no longer have insecurities about my personality, my appearance, my anything, my intelligence? Every bit of suffering you have now, you'll have then. Except minus one thought that says my life isn't good enough because I don't have success. But you'll have a whole bunch of new thoughts that create suffering. Take a moment and really let that sink in. The only thing that creates your suffering, your unhappiness, is thoughts. So, how to be happy? What will make you happy? Well, something that will get rid of your thoughts. Right? So, you hear oftentimes in other people speak about how to be happy. You need to have hobbies, you need to have a passion, you need to have a whatever. You have a hobby, it'll distract you from thoughts for a little bit. But then you'll go right back to the same old thoughts that create your loneliness, your shame, your sense of lack, your everything else. So that can't be the answer. Getting a relationship, will that be the answer? What, is everyone in a relationship happy? No. You have resentment, you worry about whether they're going to continue to love you, you have jealousy, you have everything else that's already in your life. So, what will make you happy? The real question is, how do I get rid of the thoughts that make me unhappy? That's the question. And the first thing you need to do is, every time you experience any type of unwanted emotion, like anxiety, sadness, disappointment, any emotion, our automatic reaction is something out there is to blame. If we're stressed, I need to change my job. I need to change them. Why is it like this? If we're angry, they need to change. Why do they do this? So the first step is when you experience any type of suffering, any unwanted emotion, stop. What is the real cause of this emotion? Is it really something out there? Or is it a thought in my head? When I'm distracted from this thought, am I suffering? No. When I don't think about it, am I suffering? No. As soon as I start thinking about it, what happens? Suffering. The only cause of your suffering is thought. So every time that you suffer and you try to change something out there, you're not addressing the cause of your suffering. So instead, when you experience some sort of emotion that you don't like, look, what stories am I telling myself? What thoughts am I saying? So if I have a job interview coming up and I have anxiety, I don't say, well, I hope this goes away. Once the interview's done, then I'll be fine. You look. What story am I telling? The story is, it would be bad if I don't get the job. Right? So once you identify, the first step is to identify the thought or story that's creating your unwanted emotion. Once you identify that thought, then you need to question it. Investigate it. Is it true? Because when you discover that a thought in your head isn't true, the suffering goes. Instantly. Immediately. Not something you have to practice and master or anything. Instantly it goes. So if you have a job interview and you think it would be bad if I don't get the job, you simply ask, am I sure? Do I know it would be bad for my life? I never had the job. How do I know I'll like it? How do I know I'll like my coworkers? How do I know I won't get fired next week because I can't do the job? How do I know I won't be on the way to work one day and get hit by a car? I'm just saying, how do I know? Or the opposite. It would be bad if I don't get the job. Well, maybe if you don't get the job, you'll get a better one next week that pays more and is a better fit for you. Or maybe by not working, you'll meet someone that changes your life. Or maybe you'll read a book that makes you happy. I don't know, but you don't either. So any time you decide that something is bad, it's because you haven't investigated whether it's really true, whether you know it to be true. So looking at the job interview example, if you don't know whether it's bad, best or worse for your life to get the job, then there's nothing to fear. If you're angry at someone or sad about something that happened, you look. It's not created by what happened. Because if something happened that was really bad, let's say somebody got hurt, or somebody cheated on you, if you didn't know about it, would you suffer? No. It happened, but you wouldn't suffer. Why? Because you didn't have any thoughts about it. But as soon as you start thinking about it, you suffer. Then you think, oh, my sadness and anger is created by that. No, it's not. It's created by the thoughts in your head. So if you want to stop feeling sad or angry, you just need to investigate whether those thoughts are true. So when you have sadness or anger, you're saying something that happened was bad. But how do you know? Do you know all the future effects of that outcome? Do you know that there won't be any good effects that come from it? How can that event create... When you're saying something is bad, you're saying it's bad for my happiness. But what makes you happy? If the relationship ends, you think that's so bad. But the relationship couldn't make you happy. Couldn't get rid of your worries, your anxiety, your shame, your insecurities, anything. So how do I know this would be bad for my happiness? If it didn't make me happy. It gave me moments of pleasure, but everything gives you moments of pleasure. Ice cream, TV, music, anything, a hobby. Anything can give you a moment of pleasure. But you don't want moments of pleasure. You don't want experience of happiness. This is about how to live with peace, live with happiness in every moment. You see, anytime you are suffering, the way to be happy is to simply identify the story or thought that's creating your emotion and then investigate whether it's true.